My name is Jeff. I work in quality control. I've been here at PRS for the last 11 years. My job basically is to take the guitar from the assembler, just basically double check everything that the assembler did, make sure that it's all good, all the specs are correct, because I'm the last stop before it gets into a case. So the first thing I'll do is grab a guitar out of the rack, bring it in here, just generally look it over, make sure that they didn't ding it up or anything like that, no glue or sanding scratches. So typically the first thing I'll do is check the Modcat sticker, make sure that everything matches up with the hang tag, serial number, correct serial number, correct pickups, the right color pickup rings, the right knobs. Generally just looking over everything, make sure the wiring is done correctly. They leave the back plate off so that in case there is a problem that needs to be fixed, either I can fix it or they can fix it, and then I put the back plate on before I send it to case. After that, I'll bring it in here, take a look at the nut, make sure that it's put on there correctly, there's no sloppy glue around it or anything like that, any gaps. I'll take the guitar and hold it up to the light just to make sure there's no gaps. This one's good. And while I'm also looking it over, I also look to see to make sure that the string orientation is correct, pickup rings are straight. I'll take out a ruler, just go across the first fret and make sure that it's set up to spec. It's all good. If it was off a little bit, I could either give it back to the assembler or I have my own files and I could just fix it here, be done with it. After I look at the nut, make sure everything is good there. Go down here, make sure that the knobs turn correctly and they're not scratching the top. They're not loose. Everything's in here properly. Flip it over and look at the input jack, make sure they have the right jack and that it's centered properly. That. While I'm looking at the nut, I'm also lifting up each string to make sure that it doesn't stick in there. So if it sticks, if you have a tremolo on here and it sticks, it can cause it to not stay in tune properly. So just make sure it doesn't stick. That's good. I'll take the guitar. Plug it in. First thing I do is tune it to pitch. At this point, I make sure that all the electronics work properly. The volume knob works right. Tone knob. And to make sure that the tap works. Tap between the pickups. Important thing is to make sure that each string rings out clear. Sometimes if there's stickiness in the nut, you play a note, it sounds really dead. Just go back with the file and open it up a little bit, and it usually rings out pretty clear. Make sure that both pickups are working properly. This is the bass, and this is the treble. Next thing I would do is to make sure that there's relief in the neck. Paul prefers these to be pretty close to flat, so have just a little movement here. That's what I'm looking for. You don't want it totally flat or it'll fret out, or if it's too bowed, you have the opposite. Once I do that, check the 12th fret height, make sure that these are all correct. If it was high or low, then I would have to adjust the bridge or the saddles to make the correct height there. After that, check the pickup height, which is important to get the right sound. Then after that, I just basically check the playability of it, make sure that there's no dead frets. So my job is fun. I get to sit and play guitar all day long. After that, last thing I have to check is to make sure that all the strings are intonated correctly. Tune it open, the harmonic, and fret it. If they all make the same tone, then we're good to go. This one's good. After that, just flip her over, make sure everything in here is set right and neat, which it is. I'll go ahead and put a back plate on it. After that, I can go ahead and initial the tag that it's checked. And I mark it off on a list here, and that's it. Once I'm done with that, I take it down to the casers. They clean it up, put it in a case, and out the door it goes.